Alright guys, welcome back to another Warno video. Today we're going to do a quick run through of how to create and export your own scenario in the Warno map editor. First of all, when you launch the game, you're going to come up with these options. Now I am on a pre-release build of Warno here, recording this a day before the game goes live onto the full release. So if these options change a little bit before then, just I guess launch into the editor, I'm sure it'll be fine. But we're going to go in with this new shortcut option here into the map editor, and we'll launch with that. Okay, and here we are in the editor. Start off on this armory map. We're not going to be using this map. We're just going to go top left to file. Going to do a new scenario. We're going to do R1 on. Let's think. What map do we want to go on? Should we say 2 ways? Let's call this 2 ways 2, so we can keep track of it. Obviously we want to select our map here, so we'll go down, we'll find 2 ways, that's the one we're editing on. And then the category is kind of like the folders in the armory where you're going to organize your different scenarios and maps that you're making. So we'll call this one video. We'll create that. And this should load us into the 2 ways map, which it has. Here it is in all its glory. There you go, all the setup, all the buildings, terrain, everything like that. No zones on the map. But this is where we're going to start our map creation. We're going to run through everything that you need to get your map ready to play and export. So, first of all, I'm just going to show off where we've saved it. You can see I've got some of my own little folders in here, and you've got all the Eugen ones here, strategic battlegrounds, which is all the army general maps and stuff like that. But we've got our video on here, and you can see I've already got another map in here as well. But yeah, this is where you can load up your new scenario. So when we're on this map like this, obviously you want to decide where you're going to play. So where you're going to have all your areas where you want to interact with. So we're going to need a few things for that. We're going to need our creation panel. So we're going to pop that just here. This way you can pop down all the units and all the zones and stuff like that. We're going to need our layer control. So we'll pop this out over here. And bring these up with the numbers at the top of the keyboard. So 1 is unit creation, 2 is layer control. I believe you can, look in window on the top left. You can see what all of these are doing here. I usually have these two open along with selection, which gives me information about what I've got selected, and I usually have item properties as well. These are the ones I find the most useful to have open. So first of all, we're going to want to designate our playable zone. If I can spell. So we can just search that up, and you can see playable zone in here. Now, on the left here, we've got our different controls and stuff. You want to make sure you're in create to start with. And over on this layer control, we can see we've got our level design zones here. But you can see playable zone isn't visible right now. So we want to turn that on. And we also want to click the mouse here so it's filled in. That means it's editable. Next, we're going to create our playable zone area. I am just going to shove it right in the corners so we can just play on the whole map. I'm not being very accurate with it. We're just going to roughly shove it in the corner, and that will do for us. Of course, you can lay out anywhere on the map that you want, and I'll show you moving it about. But there we go. And when you've successfully created the area you want to play in, it should fill in like this. And then, of course, you can move it about if you want. If you select the whole thing, you can see. So I can put down our playable area just to like the middle here. Like a tiny section if you really want to do that, and we can just leave it like there for the moment. So this will be our playable zone. Now usually what I do here is I kind of roughly remember where it is, and I'll usually turn off the editing and I'll turn it off. I roughly know where it is, can always pop it back on if I want to see it, but I don't really want to work with this massive filled in area. It kind of makes it look a bit weird, so we'll turn that off. Next, we're going to want to decide where our deployment zones are going. So we're going to get those guys out. And again, we're going to go over to C over here. And this is just the same thing really. You want to create a box. or any shape that you want to, really. So here is one deployment zone. Now we're going to run over a few things with this. I'm just going to create another one quickly. We'll call this one, put this one over here using Control C and Control V. And so we've got our two deployment zones here. Now, first of all, you're going to want to switch one of these, one of their properties down here, the alliance number. So you need 1 on 0 and you need 1 on 1. They just need to be different. So we're going to put this one up to 1, and that just means they're going to be different teams, which is very important. Now, if we take a look at this zone a little bit closer, we can see these little purple arrows inside. This dictates what direction the units, when they spawn in, will be facing. And so, obviously, we don't want the units to be facing this direction. So we're just going to select this middle point here, not the full zone, just the middle point. We're going to press X to switch to rotation, and we're just going to turn these 90 degrees so they'll start facing the right direction. You can turn it any way you want, but I just want these guys facing the right direction over here. So we'll turn that as well. There we go. So they are now both facing the right direction. I've got them where I want them to be. And next we're going to go over some more stuff with them. So, you want to have some reinforcement roads. Now the way these work is, these are where your new units that you purchase in a match are going to spawn in. And to make them function, they need to start outside of the zone and they need to finish inside the zone. This is very important, that this tip of the arrow ends inside the zone here. You don't need to do anything else, just have it start outside and end inside. That's it. You don't need to adjust any of this stuff. It will do it automatically if it's going into the zone. So we'll put another one over here, like so, and then we'll go over to reinforcement air, and it's just the same thing for the air. I'm just not going to put it along a road. So those are reinforcement points all sorted out for that zone. Something which you'll probably want to check with your reinforcement areas is the deployment zone for recon and for paratroops, so airborne troops. Zoom in so that renders. And you can just check this over on the layer control here to view that, and you can see where they'll be getting up to. And that's, yeah, that's fine for me. I don't mind that. If you think this one's a little bit off, we can make sure we select the whole thing. We can just shift it forwards a little bit, like so. Yeah, we'll call that a day there, and then I'll just turn off these two, zoom into it, keeps rendering. And then I'll want to do more reinforcement roads over for this zone here. So we'll just do that, get one there, and then we'll get that point there. So that's all our reinforcement and deployment zones done. We can check and see if they're in the playable area. They are, that's great. I might even shift them back a little bit. So we can shift this one back here. And maybe we shift this one back to like there, and then like obviously our points here aren't adjusted properly, so we can just move those like so, get them nicely lined up on the roads there, and we'll do the same over here. Let's have this one come in from this road like so, and we'll shift this one over like that. So it is really easy to adjust these and change those about, and we'll turn off our playable zone like that. There we go. So, we've got the area we want to play in sorted, we've got our deployment zones and reinforcement lanes sorted. Let's do the command zones. So again, we'll go to this unit creation panel, and we're just going to type in zone. Got what different zones here, and we want to use command zones. So again, you want to create any shape you want, we're just going to do a nice little square here, and this is our command zone. We don't actually have to do anything else if we want this to work. That is fully functional as it is. Unfortunately, it's got 0 points, but you could still capture it. So instead, we're going to shift this one up to, let's say, 2 points. And then we want to figure out where we want to put them. So let's get this one. Let's put this on this crossroads just here. Of course, you can rotate these about, and you can have them in like odd shapes, whatever shape you want, really. I'll shove that down there, grab that and we'll Control C, so we copy that and we'll paste a few of these out. Don't need to be too accurate with them. Can shove them all down like that. That's fine. And this is now a playable map. There's not much else we need to do for it to actually be functional as a map. There's some extra stuff you can do, and so we can go into that a little bit, and that's one of them is going to be the AI. So functionally the AI will be able to play on this map. It won't be as good as if you've created AI zones and attack corridors. So I will cover those just quickly, make sure they're all visible in the layer controls and stuff like that. And so the tactic zones are basically like shapes that you pop down. You can change the zone weighting and stuff like that. And you'll basically want to create a full grid on your map made of these tactic zones. And you'll want to fill in like all of the space, so you'll want these all to connect. So if we just change our snap mode, it's on object snap, so that's perfect. And we'll just snap that there, let's connect that, let's connect that. Like so, and we'll just roughly connect this stuff up like this. Control C, so we'll paste that, snap that there. Doing this super roughly. But you'll basically want to create a full grid, that's what I'm saying. Just get this all connected, and then we can paste in. Yeah, I'm not going to fill in the whole grid, but yeah, you will need a full grid, fully compatible over the whole thing, and then you'll want to create the corridors. So the corridors, pretty simple. You're going to start drawing out the line, go into one of the zones, go into another one. Let's say I want them to push around this way, so I'll then go into there, then to there, and like that. So that's one of them. That's like the main one, and then you'll get, which you can do, and we'll go like that. Yeah, that's basically it. So if you do this, the AI will perform better on your map, but you don't have to do this to make it work. So I'm just going to delete that. We'll get rid of it. Now the next extra thing, something I haven't played around too much with, is camera. So if we exported this right now and we played onto it, our camera would just kind of probably be shoved off in a corner somewhere, and it'd zoom over to where the map is. Like it's really weird when it does it, but you can actually create camera paths. It's not something I've played around with too much. It's not really necessary. Let's just call this like 1. If we add a key, we'll just put the camera in there. Yeah, I haven't played around with it too much. I'm sure you could do some cool stuff. I don't know, I think that's going to move it over to there. I don't know, I guess we'll find out. We'll just save that. But yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about the camera paths. It's not necessary. So, now that we're ready to export, let's get rid of all this stuff. We'll go up to this left. So you will want to save it, and then we want to hit export. And export scenario. We can't export the polygons or the base building, so no terrain adjustments or anything like that. Only this scenario. So we'll click export. And yeah, it's already done it. You'll see it down at the bottom, just down here, exported scenario. And now we'll jump into how to actually make it playable in the game. Okay, so now we've exported our scenario, there's a few things we've got to do within our files to make it usable. So the first place you need to go is into where your replay folder usually is. So it's in on mine, it's my C drive, users, my user, save games, using systems, Warno. So when you're in here, you usually have a lot of replays. I've deleted all mine for the moment. And then you'll have scenario. Now if we go in here, this is where all custom maps and other maps are. You can see I've got a bunch in here already, but here's our 2 ways 2. This is where it's located. Now, we pop in here. We're going to have to make a new text file. So I'm just going to grab the scenario one. I'm just going to copy and then paste that. And then we're going to need to rename this. Make sure I get it right here to MapPack. Okay, and we'll just go open this up. We'll bring it over here. So we don't need any of this information here. We'll just copy the name because we will need that. We'll delete all this. Just paste the name, so we've got it. Now there's a text that you'll need to place into this. I've got a copy of like a deathrow one, which I use as just the baseline. So I'll just paste that in. There we go. And this will basically kind of describe everything for the map and for the game to recognize it. So obviously we're going to need to get rid of this at the top. Otherwise it won't work, so we'll get rid of that. And then we're going to have to replace the scenario name with our scenario name, and it has to be exactly the same as what you did in the editor. That's very important. We'll change the description to 2 ways 2, and this is how many players are going to be on your map. Now right now there's a bit of a weird thing with the naming of the scenarios, at least for my version, where it doesn't put a name in the game, and so I found it beneficial for me to put this at like a very unique number, so I'm going to put it at 8 just so I can find this in the game later. You can change your game modes and stuff like that. You want to make sure that's all accurate, and then you've got your different environment settings. Now I can't remember which environment settings 2 ways has, so what I'm going to do is I am most likely going to have to delete some of these, but for the meantime we'll just replace deathrow with 2 ways. I believe that's the map name. You can always go into the scenario, bring that over, and you can see what it's officially designated as there, 2 ways. So yeah, that's accurate, so we'll use that, and I will just copy and paste this like so, and we'll replace these. But this is usually a point of failure if your map doesn't have one of these environment settings. You'll just have to come in and just delete one of the lines, and then it's fine. You'll describe the map size. This is all for like the lobby descriptions of the map. It doesn't actually change anything with your map, it's just for the description. So we can keep these the same, they don't matter. And that's kind of all we have to do. I will quickly just paste something into this text file so you guys can pause, and it will kind of describe what you need to do for this map pack thing. So if I just full screen this, this one line is pretty annoying. Let me just, there we go. So yeah, this bit at the bottom kind of describes all the different things you have to do for each of the lines. So I'll leave that there for a moment. You guys can pause and read that and get a good idea. Cool. Okay. We'll get rid of that. Go. Minimize that. And that's fine. That's all we need to do. We'll save that. So that's now in here as MapPack. That's all sorted. Next, we're going to need to go into our Warno folder where the game is saved. You can do this through Steam. So if you properties, installed files, and you just browse where the files are. I've got them right here. So you're going to need to be in here. Now you're going to need to open the command console. I've done this already, but if I just close it, you can just click at the top here and type cmd, and it will just open it up for you like that. Super easy. And we've got this now. Now you've got to like compile all your data, or like generate it. A little bit weird, but what we can do is we're going to enter in this command. I'm going to paste it in. You guys should be able to see it there. And again, I'll leave that up there, and you guys can look at that. And well, I'll probably put it in the description as well, so you guys can copy and use it. And then we'll want to hit enter. Now, because I've got some other scenarios that might not work this first time. Okay, you see, we've got an issue here. You can see environment settings 2 ways warning. Cool. Okay. Not an issue. Let's go over to our MapPack here, and let's get rid of this morning one. There we go. We'll save that, and then we'll just enter in that same code again. Ignore this. Oh, yeah, I was making a chemical one. So chemical one isn't, we'll just delete that. Not important. So you can see if you have other maps which aren't fully exported properly and made properly, then you will run into issues trying to get one sorted. You see there's another one there, so we'll get rid of that. Let me just skip ahead here. Looks like we're going to be okay this time. Obviously need to be more organized with, with my maps. But that's most of the problems I've run into when creating maps. You can see the game's just stopped running there, so that's fine, that's worked. Next, we're going to try and play our scenario in the game, just locally. This is not a version where we can play with other players. But we'll paste this in here. This is basically just going to launch the game for us. Okay, so here we are in the game. We'll head over to Skirmish. And you can see these are all the maps I've made, but I don't really know how to tell them. So that's why we put it at 4v4. So we'll just click on it there. And we'll hit launch. We'll see if this worked. And hey, here we go. Okay, the camera still did weird stuff, but that's fine. And you can see, obviously because our zones are really small, all the names are sticking out of them, but they're all 2 points, like we said. We've got a bunch of AI with us. Can even auto-deploy. There we go. And we'll click launch.
Yes, sir.
And hey, there you go. That's us playing our own custom scenario.